Hello, America, where the critical thinkers tune into the James Bradley Show.
God bless America.
Restoring liberty and safety.
This is a country that was built on getting it done.
And now, James Bradley.
Hello, citizens of the world. Welcome to the second show of the James Bradley Show. And I want to introduce my great staff. We have Susanna Schill to my left. She is our campaign manager.
Hello, California. Hello, global citizens of the world.
And we have Dr. Dimitri. He's our international director. Hello, Dr. Dimitri. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, and hello, Americans.
And today we have two special guests that we're focusing on the homeless crisis, but specifically our homeless veterans that are encamped outside the Veterans Home in West LA. And some of you know that I'm actually a veteran of the United States Coast Guard. And when I caught wind of this about a year ago, I dug in deep and I met these two fine gentlemen, these patriots. And I want to introduce to our show right now, Rob Reynolds. Hello, Rob. Say hello to the team.
Hi, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, brother. And, of course, we have Ryan Thomas. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you again. Thank you.
Good to have you on the show today. And folks, kind of size this up. This Soldiers Home has been around for 133 years, and we have so many homeless veterans, well over 4,000 on the street today. And why is that? And we're going to dig in that today. So let's start off right now. So, Ryan, could you share the little history about our Soldiers Home?
Yeah, absolutely. The Soldiers Home is basically in public trust to permanently maintain as a home for disabled veterans. It was founded in 1887 or 1888 thereabouts, and it was actually a very generous donation, a heartfelt one, but also a shrewd business decision. There were several landowners in what we now know as the West LA area who had land that they wanted to develop, but they couldn't. There were no jobs there. There was no industry there. And they were challenged to figure out how to develop that land. And at the time, they'd heard about a program called the National Home for Disabled Volunteer Soldiers, which is a program started federally for Civil War veterans who needed to heal, who were injured. It was really the first time that the country started to try to expand and spend some of its capital caring for its veterans. And these donors here, what is now in the West LA area, decided that they would donate this land. It originally started as approximately 1,000 acres. It's now been whittled down to less than 400. And they would each donate one contiguous section of land comprising where a lot of their borders had met up. They would donate it to the NHDVS program. They even include some money that they provide the federal government for it. And a deed was struck to permanently maintain it as National Home for Disabled Volunteer Soldiers. The idea was, which worked out in spades, is that disabled veterans would flock to heal and rehabilitate here, and then they would move out of the home and they would start to buy piecemeal parcels of land to start their families and their businesses and to develop the economies. And that's exactly what happened. And the reason that this worked is because the disabled veterans had pensions or they had monthly payments, and they could receive them at any mailbox in the country. And this was the packaged economy that let this happen. So it's a beautiful story because it really kind of mends together the entrepreneurial spirit of the country as well as the country caring for those that it depends on.
Thank you, Ryan. And we're going to pause for a break here shortly, and we can pick up right after the break. But thank you so much for sharing that. There's much more to come here. So people, stay with us. We have some deep diving to do. Thank you, and say hello.
Susanna here telling you, please stay tuned. We are here on the James Bradley Show, speaking to veterans and what is not happening to our veterans and what Ted Lieu has completely sidelined. James Bradley is a Coast Guard veteran. He saves lives, and that is why he's running for Congress in Los Angeles. The current Congressman, Ted Lieu, did nothing to prevent anarchy and defend the residents of Los Angeles. Instead, he supports defunding our police and supports the radical left. Our residents live in fear every day, which they call the new normal. James Bradley will refund and empower the police to protect your homes, your businesses, and your families. Ted Lieu made Los Angeles the epicenter for the homeless. James Bradley has programs to solve the homelessness crisis, especially for our hero veterans. Donate to James Bradley campaign, restoring liberty and safety. Go to www.bradleycongress.com.
I'm James Bradley, and I approve that message.
Welcome back to the James Bradley Show, where we, and James Bradley specifically, candidate for Congress District 33, is exposing evidence of alleged corruption against our veterans. Take it from here, James.
And we can't have that, folks, because they died and served. They're our heroes. We need to recognize them as heroes, not the vagrants that they're accusing them of. So, Ryan, before we went to break, we were mentioning the history behind the Soldiers' Home. If you want to continue down that, would be really, really important.
Evidence of alleged corruption against our veterans. Take it from here, James.
Hello. Yeah, so, Ryan, if you could pick up where we left off, that'd be wonderful.
Sure. Well, as I was saying, this was a donation in public trust to disabled veterans to be permanently maintained that way by the federal government. And it turned out to work to be a gem that kickstarted the economies of, actually, it started West LA. Not many people know this, but the first generations of disabled veterans who had rehabilitated at the West Los Angeles VA, as we now know it, they had moved out of the home and they had purchased, piecemeal lots from these landowners who donated the home, and started their families and built businesses, and they founded a city called Sawtelle. And Sawtelle was eventually annexed by Los Angeles in a pretty dramatic story that happened decades later. So we now know it as West Los Angeles today. But also these veterans had moved out, and they had really kickstarted the economies of Brentwood, which is the neighborhood that I live in, as well as Westwood, where UCLA is. And in fact, I believe a majority of UCLA's student body in its formative years comprised veterans, U.S. military veterans. So it's really a shame to see what's happening today, and to even see these illegal land users like UCLA and some of these other third parties really desecrating this land and desecrating people's lives amidst the contributions that these veterans have made to us in so many ways throughout history.
So I know you're bringing this to James Bradley, and James Bradley has been exposing this, and he's made this his mission, him being a veteran himself. Mm-hmm. Have you taken this to the, I was going to say former congressman, but to a former veteran who's our congressman today in District 33, and what has been said to him, and what's he going to do about it?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have I taken this to Ted Lieu? Is that the question?
Sure, please, yes.
Yes, I've taken this to Ted Lieu. I'm glad you asked that. I have taken this to Ted Lieu. I think the first time was approximately a year and a half ago, just as I was starting to really get a better understanding from other veterans who had been involved with this advocacy for decades as to what was happening. And I started noticing that Ted Lieu was essentially corroborating with a lot of private developers or with this movement to privatize that land. I confronted him an open letter where I demanded his resignation. And I outlined, probably 10 pages of facts that we knew that he had interdicted, an eviction, a federal eviction of a private entity where the first 150 units of homeless housing for veterans was supposed to be built as of a year ago. It's still a soccer field. We had also found out many disabled veterans, including homeless veterans, and myself and other members of the community, that Ted Lieu was holding a so-called public meeting at his public offices on the public's dime to discuss the future of the West Los Angeles VA, but he had only invited the private developers. He hadn't invited any veterans. He hadn't made any notice that he sent out whatsoever about this meeting on his website or his social media, nor did the developers. So we crashed his meeting on November 21st, I believe it was, of last year. Mm-hmm. And it was sad. we were literally told to sit in the back of the room. We were handed flashcards and little kindergarten pencils and told that only community leaders were allowed to ask questions at this WLA VA subject matter meeting, and that maybe ours would be answered if we wrote them down. We didn't stand for that. We raised our hands in unison, and after about 30 minutes, Ted stood up. His face was rather red, and he said, "Hey guys, I didn't know any veterans were going to be here today." And then he said that he was going to let us, I'm sorry, I'm not a veteran, I'm a member of the community, but he said he was going to let the veterans ask questions. And they did. And unfortunately, he didn't provide substantial answers. In fact, he passed every question off to someone else, and nothing was really answered. We have video of it. We can show you it later.
So no solutions, right? No solutions. Let's talk about the smart solutions. Dr. Dimitri?
I just want to remind our viewers that they're listening and watching James P. Bradley show. This is next congressman from California's District 33. He suggests innovative solutions to Californians' problems, in particular innovative solutions and just solutions for the homeless crisis, and in particular crisis of homeless veterans. And on this particular show, our dear listeners, tune in. James P. Bradley breaks sensational news, his expose, his investigation into appalling corruption of Democratic leadership, which takes advantage of our heroes, of veterans. Back to James P. Bradley.
Yeah, and honestly, these two that you are joining us today, that's Rob Reynolds and Ryan Thomas, they brought to my attention, and I've been working with Rob almost a year now, Rob, right? Exposing this, yeah. And they are the brains. And this has been going on for many, many years now. And I believe, Ryan, you collected evidence that's over a period of how many years now?
It's roughly 2 years, probably about 2 years now.
Okay. Well, I do recall in conversation you have like almost a garage full of documents.
Yeah, and also you were talking too about the letter in the press release just off camera here that was sent to Donald Trump as well as the DOJ and the FBI. Could you talk a little bit more about that too, James, and what we're trying to do to help our veterans? I mean, this is appalling. This is horrific. And while Donald Trump is here, we are trying to get a hold of him to expose all of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, Donald Trump's already on the plane. He's already, I think, in Arizona already, or back actually in D.C. He's already been in, so he's in D.C. So we missed that opportunity, but we do have a letter to open investigation against the crimes of, I call humanity, of course, the heroes of our great nation, our veterans. And these two gentlemen that did deep intel, and they actually compiled and helped me compile the information that we sent off to the DOJ as well as the FBI. So from there, let's talk about one of the piercing questions is now, of those entities that are currently on the complex, and we'll dig into this a little bit further. What services that are there are still providing services for the veterans? Right.
Well, there's a lot of talk about services that these entities are providing to the veterans, and it's pretty much vapor. I guess a couple of examples would be the Brentwood School. The Brentwood School is utilizing upwards of 30, 35 acres, some of it under an illegal lease, some of it they pretend to own, but they've never been able to show a deed. They can't produce one because it doesn't exist. All of their land is at the Soldiers' Home. And they got in trouble because they weren't even paying rent on their original lease, so to speak. Then it was found that their lease was null and void, and any amendments thereto. They've spent approximately $1.5 million lobbying Congress to try to find a way to keep squatting there, which I guess they've succeeded in doing that as of yet. And meanwhile, as part of this appeasement process and their PR campaign, which I think has backfired largely, they've been claiming recently that they have been providing approximately $1.2 million a year.
Hey, Ryan, let's do a real quick hard stop. We're about to go into commercials, so...
Yes, please. Thank you so much for all that intelligence. And again, we'll be back on the James Bradley Show, where we are exposing the crimes and the corruption that is happening to our veterans in Los Angeles.
And if you want to stop this corruption, you have to vote for James P. Bradley.
Amen to that.
Amen. Yes.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain. Pain from a sports injury? If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422. Can't get a Wi-Fi signal where you want it? There's a new solution out there from C. Crane. It extends your Wi-Fi range up to half a mile away. Wi-Fi is super important, but the Wi-Fi signal doesn't travel very far. C. Crane has a new solution called the CC Vector Extended Long Range Wi-Fi System. It provides a new reliable Wi-Fi to half a mile away, and it works with all Wi-Fi devices and saves you the cost of a new internet service. The CC Vector Extended Long Range Wi-Fi System provides basic internet service for surfing the web, making Skype calls, watching standard quality video on TV, and most important, streaming audio from CRN Talk Radio. You must have a line-of-sight view between the CC Vector and your host router. Best of all, you have C. Crane's friendly crew to help you set it up. Check it out, the CC Vector Extended Long Range Wi-Fi System at ccrane.com/booster. That's ccrane.com/booster or call 800-522-8863. That's 800-522-8863.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
Welcome back to the James Bradley Show, where we are bringing smart and innovative solutions to District 33 in California. Back with Robin Ryan. Now, James Bradley, take it from here.
Gentlemen, welcome back. And I have a series of questions, and it's mind-boggling to know that what's happening as we speak and how long you've been fighting this fight. Let's dig right into this. Tell us more about Valentini Shinsky lawsuit, and how did that conclude? That's going to be Ryan. Thank you.
Sorry, Valentini v. Shinseki lawsuit was in 2011. This is a time where disabled veterans and members of the community and the press had really realized that the West Los Angeles VA was pretty much overrun by third-party entities that were doing absolutely nothing for veterans, and they weren't even supposed to be there in the first place. So the suit was filed in the Ninth Circuit Federal Court, Judge Otero presiding over it. In 2013, those disabled veteran plaintiffs were ruled in their favor that many of these leases, the 9 largest ones, were null and void, and any amendments thereto. So they'd actually won the lawsuit, and they had also got a restraining order against the VA from any development by some of these businesses.
Gotcha. And Susanna, you had a question.
Yeah, I'm particularly disturbed of what I've been reading about the experimentation taking place on our heroes who are fighting for our freedom. We have particularly UCLA encroaching, I believe, on the land there, and then as well as asking for these soldiers to volunteer, and they'll get paid anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, maybe $3,000 the max, to come in to be experimented on. And one of the conditions is to be high on methamphetamines. Do they have to go out and seek that themselves, or do they get these methamphetamines from UCLA? And
That's a
maybe
question.
Rob could answer that, because I think we've
Yeah,
had
sure,
some
sorry.
discussions too. Thanks.
What I do know is that a lot of the homeless veterans in and around the West Los Angeles VA that, living out on the sidewalk, they've been approached by members of UCLA asking them if they are willing to come in and participate in this methamphetamine research. They're offered money. They're offered a place to stay.
Temporarily.
I know that once they get, go ahead.
Temporarily.
Yeah, temporarily.
Right.
And the big problem with this is we found these flyers going around for this methamphetamine research in the domiciliary, which is supposed to be a place for rehabilitation. And, this is just causing relapse. Guys are seeing this and ended up going out and relapsing, and it's fueling this epidemic at the VA.
Yeah, that's the letter that James Bradley sent to the Trump administration, calling that out as far as the relapse for these veterans who are now becoming more and more drug addicted.
Yeah, and more importantly, we've seen quite a few incidents of late, the last month, I believe. And Rob, I think you witnessed it firsthand. Some of our veterans being falling on the. One was a hit, I believe. So if you can share some of the accidents that have happened of late with our homeless veterans, that'd be very helpful.
With the homeless veterans around the VA, is that what you're speaking of?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So last year in May, we had one of our friends that I knew personally, Jared Chrisman, U.S. Army veteran. He passed away on the sidewalk right outside the VA. This has happened numerous times. There was no VA outreach being done up until recently. We've had veterans get hit by cars, veterans overdose, veterans attempt suicide. It's, they've really just been left on the street to die, and no one was doing anything for them. And thankfully, with the awareness that's starting to be built, that's beginning to change. There is more VA outreach now. The guys have some tents to stay into. There's no one coming by and throwing away all their things like that's what used to happen before. Every 2 weeks, the sheriffs would come by and throw away all their belongings in these cleanups they would do.
That was the cleanup, right? I remember that.
On Ted Lieu's clock. And that is why
Yes.
we have to elect somebody that is caring about this topic. A man who stands for faith, who stands for family, and who stands for freedom. And this freedom comes at a cost, ladies and gentlemen. And look what we are doing on our streets in West LA with our veterans. James Bradley for Congress, who is bringing innovative ideas, creative ideas to our district, who is standing tall with our residents of this district and will be our voices in Congress. So please go to bradleycongress.com and donate today.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic. Market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our Peach Bellini Martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
As a business owner, when was the last time you asked yourself if you have the right commercial insurance coverage? You need business insurance to protect everything you're building. One disaster without the right insurance could hurt your business, and larger deals you're trying to close may require that you have it. We recommend CoverWallet for all your business insurance needs. In just 2 minutes with their award-winning technology, they can offer you free competitive quotes from top insurance carriers nationwide. CoverWallet has helped tens of thousands of businesses, startups, restaurants, truckers, construction companies, landscaping companies, beauty salons, consultants, and they can help you. No business is too big or too small, and it's a free call to find out. Protect your business. Get the right insurance for your business. Call CoverWallet right now.
800-220-7612. 800-220-7612. That's 800-220-7612.
For the getaway of your dreams, come to Hawaii's Playground, Ka'anapali Beach Resort, on the fun side of Maui, where the world comes to play. Find your spot on Ka'anapali Beach with 3 miles of white sand, 12 resort properties, 2 golf courses, and 2 shopping centers. Enjoy the playground of Hawaii's ancient royalty. Ka'anapali Beach Resort is Hawaii's original master planned destination resort and home of the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. With views of 2 neighboring islands, you can breathe in the land's natural beauty from your favorite resort or golf fairway. Come experience Ka'anapali's own special brand of Hawaiian hospitality with world-class dining, relaxing resorts, water sports, and activities of every kind. For romantic, family, and great friend getaways, discover the options of Ka'anapali Beach Resort, where the world comes to play. Plan your getaway today. Visit Ka'anapaliResort.com. That's KAANAPALI Resort.com.
Welcome back to the James Bradley Show, where the truth is being told, so help us God. We are now tuning in to the next congressman of District 33 in California, who's speaking live right now with Ryan and Rob about Veterans Affairs and all the corruption and the evidence of crimes, alleged crimes behind what is happening to our heroes and our veterans. Now take it from here, James.
Well, hello once again, everybody. Welcome back after the break. Gentlemen, Rob, Ryan, let's cut to the chase. Let's start naming some names of some of these nefarious characters in office that are abusing our veterans. So chime in. Start off with Ryan, please.
Well, obviously, at the top of that list would be Ted Lieu. I think we're aware of that. But Dianne Feinstein has certainly been a problem in this, especially when it comes to UCLA. She's married to Mr. Blum, who is a UC regent. Hence how we get an extra 10-year deal for UCLA's baseball complex at the Westlake.
So Ted Lieu, congressman, Democratic congressman from District 33, and Dianne Feinstein, senator, Democratic.
Didn't you run against Dianne Feinstein and did extremely well against her?
Oh,
you just didn't have the
did.
CCP money? Is that what happened?
I did, yeah. I almost took her out of the running, but unfortunately they had more money than I did, and that's what really turns the vote. But continue, gentlemen. I want to hear some more names. I know there's quite a few of them. So, Rob, if you can chime in and share what you know.
Sure. Well, for myself, Mayor Garcetti made a promise in 2014 to then First Lady Michelle Obama that he was going to end veteran homelessness by 2015. And it's 2020, and we're still the nation's capital for homeless veterans. I've been in contact with his office over the last year, just completely ignored. The same with Congressman Ted Lieu. I've been to some of his town hall meetings, and just like Ryan said, they're scripted. You have to submit questions. If they don't like the questions you submit, they're not going to answer them. And then Dianne Feinstein. I mean, the fact that she approves $1.3 billion of taxpayer money for a train on veteran land instead of housing is just insane to me. They say that she claims that the train is going in to help transport veterans to the West Los Angeles VA. But where are they going to go when they get here? Out onto the sidewalk with the 29 guys we have out there right now? Because there's no housing. There's veterans camping in the field of the VA because buildings are being used for non-veteran special interests, like Brentwood School, UCLA Stadium. It's just insane to think that this is happening.
You know what, Rob? Let me ask, Congressman to be here. James, you've been down there.
Yes, I have.
I haven't. I've driven by, and my heart bleeds. I was telling Rob, I can't go down there and start talking to them because I would bawl my eyes out. What do you tell us? What you're seeing down there?
Well, the community outreach, I have to tell you, those that live in Brentwood are really reaching out. They're finally seeing the corruption. So, Rob, you're doing an awesome job. Ryan, the same, exposing the corruption. More importantly, getting the folks that live in the city to contribute, and that really melts my heart.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yep.
But the other thing is, why are these inside the campus themselves? We're looking at little pub tents. They used to be on the pavement. Now they're on the grass. So is that like a little shell game, little optics thing going on, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm glad that you've noticed that.
Yes.
And by the way, those are tents that say donated by Brentwood School, awnings that say donated by Brentwood School.
That's nice.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. Yeah. All of this adds up to just there's nothing that's happening there that these land users don't intervene in to make veterans stay at that land, their home, as worse and inhumane and unbearable as possible. And that's the notion of this, to get some great PR doing it in the process, to get your news ops and to take over that land and have an 8,000 trip per day Purple Line station illegally there, proposing to be there.
8,000, did you say? 8,000?
8,000 trips per day is the specification of that station. And it is 2 blocks west of another $1.3 billion Purple Line station being built with 100% federal funds in Westwood.
Well, I'm not new to math. 8,000 trips a day. That's near impossible in my book.
That is the actual specification for Metro's 2012 study. It blew my mind too, and everybody says the same thing. I've talked to Metro about it. I've recorded my meetings with them. They don't deny it.
So what's the incentive behind this? Is somebody making money off of this? Do the veterans make money off of this, or the VA? Is somebody paying any kind of rent? Is that why they're doing this?
Well, the rent that's being spent, when you think about the value of property per square foot in Brentwood, California, and you can quickly come to realize that this could be, if you're in the real estate business and you misperceived that this was real estate, the most valuable piece of real estate in the country. So they're paying far below market value, but the rents is just the beginning of it, because this is a grab. Okay, the idea here is to build a downtown Brentwood, quite frankly. I've never seen any covenants on these proposed housing projects that show how long it's going to be for veterans. In fact, when it comes to Thomas Safran and Associates proposals to get the city bond money to build housing there, they said it's for multifamily residential renters of low to moderate income. Most cases on these financial documents with the city for these bonds to build housing, I don't even see the word veteran on them. And I'm not kidding.
I will just remind listeners and viewers that they are watching and listening to James P. Bradley show. James P. Bradley, next congressman from District 33. And if you want, guys, to stop this embezzlement of your own money, you have to do a very simple thing. Vote James Bradley for Congress, and he will bring sanity and safety back to California. Very simple. It's in your hands now.
Doctor, you mentioned embezzlement. Ryan, we spoke earlier today about embezzlement of using our tax dollars to pay for some of this. We have a short time before the break, so if we could make it really short and sweet, let's do that. And what I'll do is I'll lead us into our next segment. If you can set it up real quick for us, then we'll break it there.
Question again is?
The embezzlement. So we can hold that question after the break. How does that sound?
Sure.
But Folks,
I'll just give you a few digits about embezzlement. I've got investigative report from journalists that on the watch of Ted Lieu, Democratic congressman, $5.4 billion were spent on consulting about building a railroad in California. Guys, consulting $5.4 billion
that's
with
crime
B.
in itself. Wow.
That's
My
what James P.
God.
Bradley will investigate when he
Absolutely.
becomes congressman.
So,
You're tuning in to the James Bradley Show, where we tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. Stay tuned as we continue on with Rob and Ryan from the Veterans Association here, or rather the veterans themselves, to tell us what's going on actually. Again, bringing your voices and bringing your ideas and bringing your needs to Washington, D.C.
and stay with us, folks. We have some more insanity to share with you, so this is real. So stay with us.
Question: have you ever thought about making an investment in California real estate for the high returns available through trust deeds? As a trusted professional broker, Sun Pacific Mortgage and Real Estate has been helping investors earn high-yield returns on safer investments for over 32 years. Their trust deeds earn upwards of 13%. That's right, 13%. They invest in notes starting from $100,000 throughout all of California, where real estate remains strong. If you want to know more about high-return investments through available deeds of trust, go to their website at sunpacificmortgage.com. That's sunpacificmortgage.com, or call them today at 707-523-2099. 707-523-2099. sunpacificmortgage.com, or call them at 707-523-2099.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
Fellow Americans and global citizens of the world, we need you to support and get behind James P. Bradley for Congress, District 33 here in California. So Californians, get out there, vote. Your vote counts, and your vote will get James Bradley elected so he can make these innovative and creative changes for us.
And sanity and safety will be restored in California. It's in your hands. Vote Bradley.
You know, just off the air, I was asking James about you, Rob, and Ryan, and this friendship that he's built with you. And, you know, he was smiling ear to ear because of just the short amount of time, how far you gentlemen have come. And I wanted to ask you, and maybe here on the air, tell us a little bit about your perception about Rob and Ryan and how they've come to be involved in all of this.
Well, you know, I call Rob one of our heroes because he went through the program. He was turned away with a guide dog, which he had a medical approval for. So he was, honestly, you could be a victim right now. Rob, you could be a victim, but you stood strong and you went through the system and you didn't turn away once you found housing. You went back on the street to help out the veterans, to speak and do and whatever you could to help them. And I met Ryan. Ryan, you're amazing. I don't know where you came up with all the information, but you have been the factoid of reason, evidence that we kind of grabbed over. I guess there's been a collection of evidence over time. But you live in the district. You drive by there every day or a good part of the week, and you realize that something was wrong. So you asked the right questions. You did the research. Why? Because you love our veterans. Something was wrong. I guess that leads me to a question. You live in the community, Rob. Ryan. What are the other citizens in the neighborhood? What is their feeling about what's going on, and has that changed over the period of time?
It's rapid. It's dramatically changed. Thank God. And that's because of Rob a lot. A lot of this too, I have to say, is finally coming to a head of so many veteran advocates over multiple decades fighting this fight. And I'm just so glad, and thanks in a lot of part because of you, James, for helping bring this rapidly to our attention as a public here. A lot of this work is starting to pay off. But in the community here, I'll tell you, I was ignorant. I was among the ignorant in the community a little over 2 years ago. I would be ashamed of what I would probably say about those veterans who I didn't even know were veterans back then. And it's through some research and through other veterans and the meticulous care of documents that they had collected that I began learning about this and starting to advocate against these frauds on social media and out in the community. And it's a no-brainer. When people are finally willing to listen, they do what we do. And that's what you're seeing the community do right now. That's why you're seeing those tents there. Mm-hmm. That's why they're calling the directors. That's where their advocacy comes from.
And Rob and I, we off camera, we had a discussion too. He fought in Iraq for the United States of America. He came back and was on the front lines, 9/11, 9/11, and still fighting for us and for our veterans. Rob, you said all of that combined, all the horror that you saw in Iraq, fighting as a soldier for our freedoms, and then coming back here and in taking care of us here in the U.S., all of that combined doesn't even lead up into what you're actually seeing happening to our veterans on the streets and the experimentations that are taking place at UCLA with our soldiers. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, it was just this whole experience has just been mind-boggling, pure evil. Watching what's happening to veterans, I've watched, over the last year, trying to get veterans in for housing, them being told they have to wait 60, 70 days to get into a program, them having nowhere to stay, being thrown off the property, told to stay out on the sidewalk. They go out to the sidewalk, and then these cleanup crews come through and throw away all their belongings. And they have breakdowns, and it's just insane to think this would happen.
And Rob,
then you start hearing people talk about the research with RAND coming out, RAND Corporation doing research, and then UCLA. It's just nonstop, always taking advantage of impoverished, disabled veterans.
It's amazing that these people in Sacramento, the Democratic leadership of the state, and Ted Lieu, Democratic congressman, they have no mercy and they have no shame. We just mentioned that they embezzled $5.4 billion on consulting about building a railroad in California, and also investigative reports indicate that $2.7 billion were spent on researching how to build the water system, how to update water system for California.
Nothing for it.
Money was spent, there's no clean water. Where is the money? Californians, guys, we need to change it. We need to vote Bradley to restore some sanity and safety to California.
Yeah, the good thing is having a financial background, I can actually speak numbers. And what I've seen over my research, it's been a dead-end trail. But those rabbit holes go very, very deep, and there's a lot of big names on this. We mentioned Mayor Garcetti. We also mentioned Dianne Feinstein, Richard Blum. We also mentioned Ted Lieu. We have a few other contractors to mention as well, which happen to be supporting the DNC and some of the Democrat incumbents right now for this upcoming election. The money exchanging hands. So after the break here, we have one coming up here shortly. I want to talk about this other little bit of news story that came out, Ryan, that you and I shared regarding the HHH and the bonds and some of the attorneys that you made me aware of that are taking these bonds and becoming very rich by it.
Again, you're on the James Bradley Show. Tune in so we can continue talking about our veterans and get out there and vote and donate to BradleyCongress.com. Again, BradleyCongress.com for the next Congressman of District 33. God bless.
Stay with us. We'll be right back, and we have some really good information to share with you, some updates coming in from D.C. So stay with us. Donate what you can. Go to the website, www.BradleyCongress.com. And we're going to share a lot of good of our platform. Thank you very much.
are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Hill Street Cafe, Burbank, would like to thank all of you for your continued support. During these difficult times, Hill Street Cafe is remaining open for takeout and delivery service from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. They'll be offering a modified menu to keep prices down and maintain the best quality. The safety of their customers and employees is their top priority, and they're abiding by all CDC and Health Department regulations. Order via the Hill Street Cafe Chow Now app or on their website, hillstreetcafeonline.com. You have the option of curbside pickup. We will bring the food out to your car. You are also able to order for delivery or pickup via the normal food delivery apps like Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Hill Street Cafe is here to serve you. Call them at 818-845-0046 or come by to pick up at 3301 North Glen Oaks Boulevard in Burbank, California. Hill Street Cafe, Burbank. Pickup and delivery services are available at 818-845-0046 or visit them at hillstreetcafeonline.com.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. My dear friends, today things are so confusing. It's enough to boggle the mind. That's why it's vitally important. In fact, it's an absolute imperative that you indulge in brain food, provided by the noted Institute of Good Times and Great Yum Yums, Columbo's. Just come on down. Columbo's provides the remedies and elixirs, such as mouth-watering steaks, incredibly edible seafood, Columbo's family secret Italian specialties, and the pièce de resistance, the world's greatest meatballs. Imagine margaritas on the Columbo's patio, cerveza and other liquid refreshments, or take your pick and bring it all back home and enjoy the great indoors. Columbo's, saving the world from gloom and doom with great grub and glee. Happy, happy, happy Columbo's. Mangia bene.
Bradley Show, where the truth is told and interesting topics come to mind. Also, critical thinkers, keep staying tuned because at the top of the hour, we are going to have solutions and innovative ideas to bring to the forefront about homeless and this veterans crisis. James, take it from here.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and my two special guests, as well as my campaign team. To my right, we have Dr. Dimitri, and of course, we have our campaign manager, Susanna Shield. Thank you all for being with us today. Gentlemen, we have some deeper digging right now, and I want to know what's going on. Rob, can you give me your day by day? When you go on the streets and helping our brothers and sisters, what are you experiencing? And more importantly, what's the holdup? Why can't we get them in the housing? Housing? Did I say housing? Yeah, I did say housing. What's going on there?
Well, that's exactly the point, James. There is no housing. That's why you have a bunch of veterans sleeping on the field inside the VA. The tents provided by Brentwood School inside the VA are tiny pup tents. A lot of the disabled veterans, elderly veterans in wheelchairs and walkers, they can't fit into them. They can't crawl in and out of them. Yeah. It's also extremely hot to be in the middle of summer. So they decide to stay in the tents that we have provided on the sidewalk directly outside the VA gates. And I will say that, every veteran I speak with has been through different traumas that led them to this point in their life. But when it comes to the VA, they all have the same trauma. They all have been through the same thing, being denied services, not being treated with respect. And, it's been really amazing to see that every one of these veterans out on San Vicente Boulevard, Veterans Row, they have all come together. Some of them have taken leadership positions. They make sure to keep the area clean. They do outreach and get other homeless veterans to come to the area so we can get them inside the VA and get them signed up for services. They're great. I mean, these guys are putting up a fight, and it's great. This needs to happen. And
Donald Trump has made this one of his top priorities, as you probably are very well aware of.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What is happening in the state of California that they're having problems getting into the VA when Donald Trump specifically said this is not acceptable anymore, and he got rid of some of those bad apples that were running the VA? So why are we still? It doesn't sound like anything has changed under this current leadership of the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, the current leadership who is not allowing these veterans to get timely services. What's happening?
Let's talk about the VA and those in charge of the VA at the center. I think that's what you're leading to. That we talked about that earlier. So if you can chime in, both of you. I'll start off with Ryan, please.
Well, that's a great question, Susanna, and to follow up on that with James here, the first issue is that in many instances the VA is not who's meeting these veterans inside. UCLA is meeting them inside. Volunteers of America are meeting them inside. These are third parties that are effectively controlling most of the West Los Angeles VA. With that said, even though this is predominantly an issue with land grabbers, to use the term, there's also a problem where we have cronies who are inside of the VA in executive positions. And these are folks that, are here to provide lip service in many instances. And they just are not putting their mouth where their actions are.
And we're going to have to expose that, honestly.
And
we have to.
What's appalling that this problem of homeless veterans is just a tip of the iceberg of the bigger, enormous problem of homeless in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And stay with us, because James Bradley, our next congressman, will unveil solutions, efficient solutions for the homeless crisis in Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am a donor for James Bradley. I'm also a volunteer. You can get to work too and help us. We need you. We need you to get out there and register to vote. We need you to stand with us, and we need you to help expose all of this. God bless you, and stay tuned for Solutions on Commercial Free coming up soon.
Be right back, folks.
Mr. Pop. Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio shows sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 7 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before. In CRN HD, the difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Brian Kilmeade, Michael Medved, Rabbi Spiro, Tom Hartman, Stephanie Miller, Larry Elder, Sebastian Gorka, and many more. Fred Dreyer Sports, entertainment and lifestyle programming like The Lounge, The What's Cookin' Show, The What's Cookin' on Wine Show, all in true CRN HD audio. Sports, business, entertainment, travel, food, wine, politics, there's something for everyone, and it's all available in CRN high-definition sound. Log on to www.crntalk for listings and information on all your favorite shows. That's www.crntalk.com.
The radio channels. The radio channels.
Sports, business, entertainment, travel, food, wine, politics. There's something for
Welcome back to the James Bradley Show, where we're speaking with Rob and Ryan about the veterans and our homelessness crisis. And, we've actually decided to extend this hour because this is so important to James. And this topic
very important for us.
Is incredibly important to California. So we want to start commercial free now, start talking about solutions because Congressman James Bradley will be heading to Congress for us and will be representing us and our voices and our ideas. So let's talk about some of the solutions that you're bringing to District 33, James, and get some input also from Rob and Ryan at some point. But go ahead, James.
Thank you, Susanna, and Dr. Dimitri, Rob, and Ryan. Solutions are just a step away, November 3rd. We're not waiting until November 3rd, are we, gentlemen, ladies? No, we're not. We're coming up with solutions as we speak. It's not only going to address the veteran brothers and sisters that I hold near and dear to my heart, the heroes on the street that should be their life given so much and getting so little, if anything at all. We're going to help the homeless out as well. So we're going to dig into those solutions today. More importantly, before we go there, gentlemen, we spend some time together. Before I serve up the solutions, but I want to ask you, we spent some time together, and I want you to weigh in on this. What do you envision as solutions that we can incorporate into a full, comprehensive program for the veterans? Can you start off with Ryan, please?
Well, I think for starters, the land has to be used the way it's been extensively planned to be used, and the way, in large part, that it's been used for over a century before this turmoil hit. There's plenty of buildings there that can be retrofitted for housing. There are plenty of buildings there that could start housing veterans right now, and there is plenty of know-how and skill and integrity and taxpayer money behind this U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to be able to run this operation. And I'm not saying that doesn't require oversight, but we've seen what happens when we just hand it over to a bunch of people that want to turn it into a real estate development for commercial purposes, and that's not working. So I'd say let's evict the illegal land users and let's start delivering on the plan that has been laid out, that the people have agreed to. And I think that's a good step forward.
Excellent. Now, should that fall under the VA, or should it be like privatized?
I think it should fall under the VA. I mean, that's what's mandated by law.
Correct.
It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be vendors and services that the government would need to depend on. That's often the case. But it should not be what is running and controlling that facility.
And to add on to what you gentlemen are talking about, too, I believe this is correct, and I think you mentioned it before, that over 133 years ago, this land was deeded to the veterans as a quote-unquote their soldiers' home.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So at what point did all of these business entities think that they could start taking over the soldiers' home? I mean, nothing's changed, right?
That's right. A lot of it started in the early 60s. That's when a lot of the businesses started coming in, primarily UCLA. A lot of people don't know that UCLA has been suspended twice from their research at the VA. They're no stranger to this. And hopefully this next time it'll be the last time.
Suspended. We should unpack that one. Suspended for what reasons?
For unethical research on disabled veterans. I think one of the issues had to do with cardiology research, and then another one had to do with neurological research.
I think we have uncovered here so many appalling facts. I think we have to go. We have to speak about solutions, James. When you'll be in Congress, what will you do? And again, the problem of homeless veterans, unfortunately, is just a tip of the iceberg. Los Angeles became U.S. capital of homeless people, and homeless people suffer, and residents suffer from this problem. And Congressman Bradley will find efficient, working, humane solutions to that. We want to hear them, James.
Absolutely, and thank you, Dr. Dimitri. I appreciate that. Ryan, you're spot on. We have to take the land back. We have to take that land back without exception. Those leases need to end. I know there's been some decisions that end those leases that they continue to carry on, which have been pushed out by my opponent, Ted Lieu. Now, the other thing is, part of the solutions is exposing the corruption. We're doing that as we speak. We submitted the documents to the DOJ, FBI, and POTUS. We're waiting to hear back from them on their, really it was a simple question. Please start your investigation. The corruption is beyond the pale. So take the land back, number one.
Stop the experimentations.
Oh my God! This is a crime against my brothers and sisters. Why in the world would they incentivize, anybody, never mind my veteran brothers and sisters, to take drugs and experiment on them and put them through these various tests, and to, incentivized is 1,000 to 3,000.
And the vaccinations. Rob was talking about some of that too when we were offline at one point. Rob, tell us about that. And again, it's a solution in stopping the experimentation on our soldiers.
I think right now it's really important as far as the solutions getting veterans back on the property is there needs to be some outreach teams, some good outreach teams that are actually going out down to Skid Row, down to other parts of LA, getting the homeless veterans, getting them back for services, and treating them with respect the way they should be, and start building the trust back.
I agree.
There's 4,000 homeless veterans in Los Angeles. There's only 53 units of permanent housing on that 388-acre campus, or property, 53 units. It's insane. Back in the 60s, 5,000 veterans used to live on the property. And over the years, the fraud, waste, and abuse, they've all been moved off. So what needs to happen now is outreach needs to start happening. They need to set up some triage tents, get these veterans back on the land, get them the care and services they need, and get them housed.
Duly noted, Rob. Thank you very much. As I approach any solutions, you have to understand the problem. And I'm one person out of the many the citizens in the district, more importantly in the United States. This is not only in our district in California as well, it is across the nation. You could cookie cutter this. You can see the same issue across the states, predominantly in New York and the metropolitan cities. And I have to tell you, I think the 4,000 number is well under what's been reported, because I know some of the veteran brothers and sisters do not want to be accounted. So, and I know that the homeless crisis now is probably neighboring close to 70,000 in LA alone. So we have a real big issue. But the way I always approach solutions is we weigh in. Those that know the pain the most know probably the best solution. So you're on this team, gentlemen. We're going to work on this together. This is going to help our veterans. But more importantly, as we get closer to the homeless crisis, and I spent the last year working with the homeless to find out where the corruption is. And it's rot here in Los Angeles, in California. This is an industry, a supporting industry, for people getting millions and billions of dollars to, take care of the homeless, right? Why? But yet you see it growing and growing and growing. And here's the issue. Do you want to weigh in, please?
Well, on the 29th, speaking of the homeless, we're going to be speaking to some experts who actually are working with us with some great ideas.
Yeah.
LA County USC, as an example, is sitting wide open. Nothing's happening there because it's not retrofitted, right? This was Dr. Ken Wright's idea about taking some of these homeless or those with some mental illnesses, taking them there and triaging them there. And then there are also these military bases, as Dr. Ken Wright pointed out, where you can take these individuals, just like here at the VA, you can teach them a vocation, or these veterans actually they're very well trained, and they know specific things, especially around production. I mean, we live in Hollywood. Why not hire some of our veterans who know how to work with cameras and devices, and they're just so disciplined. There's so much opportunity if we got the right resources to train them or retrain them into the civilian life, if you will.
We have so many billionaires in our district and also in Hollywood and L.A. Why can't they contribute for the right cause? That'll be alone a private way of bringing solutions to the homeless crisis. But you're right. The homeless crisis is not only the ones in the street that are suffering from drug addiction and as well as alcoholism. A lot of them have psychological issues. And that's what you were speaking about, the USC hospital.
LA County USC, yeah.
LA. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the inpatient solution.
I just want the Congressman to elaborate. You mentioned an extremely important issue that taking care of homeless, or rather not taking care of homeless, but taking the budget money for that, is an industry, is like a mafia conspiracy going on.
Yeah, where's the money going, right?
Yeah.
Where's the money? We need to find that money. We need to find where that corruption is. If people can't add 2 + 2, then they shouldn't be running for any kind of office. And we should be taking that money to help the homeless, to help the veterans.
Federal money are allocated, state money are allocated, and nothing changes.
You're spot on. And also, gentlemen, Robin and Ryan, you mentioned there was a few, I call them fly-by-night veteran organizations that were brought up overnight, if you will, or have been around for a while, taking the attention away and actually vilifying, and they call it gaslighting now, your great cause in taking away and calling you vagrants, and you're not truly veterans in the street without DD-214s. That is the document that you're discharged with, DD-214. Can you talk about some of those agencies that are saying that they are actually helping but they're not and taking money? Ryan?
Sure. One that comes to mind right off the bat is the U.S. Veterans Initiative for Cloudbreak, and there are some of the proposed developers for one of the buildings here. First off the bat, I feel like they were just being rent-a-vets. They were playing the rent-a-vet role, where Thomas Safran and Associates, this Brentwood business, construction business, is hobnobbing with Lieu and the city council, and they're having black tie galas in Beverly Hills and doing photo ops. And suddenly Thomas Safran is picked as a principal developer of the West Los Angeles VA by how, we have no idea. And then he, realizes he needs veteran-owned businesses to partner up with. There's certain regulations involved. And he goes and grabs U.S. Vets. And U.S. Vets actually does have some developments around the city. I think they actually have done some good. But what they're involved with at West Los Angeles VA, I think, is a crime. Now we have the Stephen Peck, the president or CEO of U.S. Vets, doing these news ops on our local news, where he's saying things like the VA just has to realize it's time to give it away, to give it up, to give the land up. He's
over my dead
that,
body.
He's making comments inferring that a lot of these veterans are choosing to be homeless, as if it's a lot funner to be homeless or to be screwed with by all of this research than doing something else. So it's very disingenuous, and I don't think that they're being very truthful about the structure of their deals in terms of this proposed housing that's gone nowhere. There are a lot of organizations involved like this. I do want to interject one thing too, to look at history here. The VA the VA redeveloped the West LA VA in 1960. They're very proud of it. They had, had a congressional photo shoot of everything there, architectural survey. And at that time, it housed 5,000 disabled veterans there. You know how many homeless were in Brentwood that were veterans? None. None in Brentwood, none in Westwood.
That leads to a question, Ryan. Why can't the VA build the housing?
Well, that's a great question, because they can. Dianne Feinstein even knows this one, because she's part of the appropriations of at least, bare minimum, $500 million since 2012 for the VA to build housing and common area and building improvements and utility improvements at the West LA VA. I'm not talking about splitting this money up at multiple VAs. This is just at West LA VA. And COVID-19, this tragic pandemic here that's going on, that's appropriated a ton of money too, specifically to help this situation. So unfortunately, a lot of these elected officials, U.S. Vets, these organizations, Thomas Safran and Associates, Village for Vets, these organizations that are involved with land grab are literally telling our public that the truth is, which is definitely not the truth, that the VA is not allowed to house veterans. They're not allowed to provide them shelter, and they're not allowed to feed them. Only their businesses can. I'm not kidding you.
Optics and lies.
I just would like to remind our viewers and listeners that they're watching and listening to James P. Bradley Show, next congressman for District 33, who will offer solutions and restore sanity and safety in California.
And law and order, absolutely. The crimes we're exposing today is in front of the FBI, DOJ, and POTUS as we speak. So we're hoping that we'll start their investigations. I was hoping last week, but we're going to keep on top of this. But Susanna, you had a specific question, didn't you?
Well, gentlemen, there's so much going on with regards to the state of California in and of itself. I mean, we're $54 billion in the hole, right?
Actually, That's not true.
Oh, okay.
There's
Enlighten me. Is there?
There's two books, by the way. There's the real books and the cooked books. You're looking at the cooked books.
Oh,
Yeah. Right now, we're with all the.
He's a finance man. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And I don't want to give away too much, but it's well over the $52 billion. That's what's being reported. We're well in the trillions, by the way. So
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. This is so I won't commit to any numbers, but I can tell you it's well over the $52 billion that's been stated. So, but yeah, we have a financial crisis here, but
a serious financial crisis, and that's why I know that Donald Trump has this near and dear to his heart, our veterans, but he can't control California. And that is why we need the commitment of somebody like James Bradley to make this a priority and to take this to Congress and be our voices. Rob and Ryan, I mean, he is your voices. We need to get people out there to vote and to be very careful with where you're donating your money, because your money is not going where you think it's going.
Absolutely not.
And therefore, Bradley.com, we keep saying Bradley.com.
BradleyCongress.com.
BradleyCongress.com, BradleyCongress.com. I'm a donor. I'm also a volunteer. We open our arms to volunteers, so please join us.
Yeah.
Please join us also in any ideas that you have for specific topics that we're bringing to light, especially the homeless is top of mind, the veterans, of course, health care and health freedom.
We're going to actually dig deep into the homeless solution, by the way. And gentlemen, thank you for sharing all the great information. And we're going to have you back on here again and again and again to get updates as we go closer to getting some resolution and open the investigation into the crimes against us, our brothers and sisters, the soldiers' home. We're going to expose the names. But yeah, go to the website, BradleyCongress.com.
BradleyCongress.com.
There, it's kind of catchy, isn't it?
But are there any other things that maybe that we haven't discussed right now, or questions that we should have asked you that you want to enlighten us about, and the audience as well? Because, I mean, this is an important topic. We've extended this out commercial free to you so that we can continue this discussion. Again, solutions, as we discuss, is we're going to take that land back. That is absolutely veteran land. We're going to put James Bradley in Congress to be the voice for us. We're going to make sure that experimentation doesn't take place. We're going to offer the security and the liberty that is bestowant here in the state of California and should be given to each citizen here, even the veterans and even our homeless. And again, on the 29th, we are going to be talking about the homeless crisis. We have some very amazing guests on to talk to us about, not only their ideas of solutions. And this is what James Bradley does. He listens to our voices and the solutions we bring to the table.
Yep. I have another question for the gentleman.
Oh.
Can you name some of the biggest challenges facing the veterans on a daily basis, while trying to survive this crime? If you could start off, Rob, I'd be really appreciative.
I think the big thing is everyone just trying to stay positive, and these guys, we're constantly trying to get them in for services. There's a lot of good VA staff that work at the VA, but their hands are tied because of retaliation. They have been fired in the past. The domiciliary program on the VA, it's Building 217, all the residents, all the veterans are currently under lockdown right now. They're not allowed to leave their rooms without escorts. If they miss a bed check, they're kicked out. And they're all claiming COVID is the reason they have to do this. And this is preventing people from going inside. Guys are actually leaving the program because of this. Then you also have, New Directions on the property. They have 100 open beds. You have the Welcome Center that also has open beds. And the reason a lot of these places have open beds is because these, private sector security guards that are in control of at each of these buildings. There's private sector security guards that are sitting there, and they do not treat the veterans with respect. They treat them like they're criminals. They search them, and it's really hard to get guys to go in because they don't like being treated that way. And so that really needs to change.
These are veterans also in that capacity, correct?
The security?
Yeah, the security.
No, this is just a private sector security. So you have VA police on the land.
Right, I saw that.
And then you have these private sector security that they stage at every one of the buildings and the VA camping locations. And when these guys come in, they literally treat them like they're wards of the state.
Yeah.
And prisoners.
You're fired.
I mean, I can imagine being a soldier, being a young person, and we have people in our family. Some of my cousins are going into the military. They're proud. We're saying prayers over them. They're going through the boot camps. They're going into the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and then they go off to fight for us. They fight for our freedoms. And they stay over there for years where they don't see their family members. They don't come home for the holidays. But when they do finally come home, what are they left with? If they don't have a home to go to, or they don't have family members left because they've been overseas for so long, and then they come home to this VA hospital that makes them have a bed check, and if they're not in bed at the time that they're supposed to, they're going to be kicked out. Who's heard of such a thing?
I'd like to interject that we have to think why democratic leadership of the state is not interested in finding solution, efficient and quick solution.
It's control.
It's so inhuman. Then it means, and Congressman Bradley said that, it means it's in their interest to perpetuate the problem of homeless. There is financial interest and there is political interest, because there's so many investigative reports that on the day of elections, buses come, load in homeless people
and the veterans, and now go vote for
and
the Democrat.
ship them to
Go vote for the Democratic Party.
Well, the question has always been why. I always say follow the money, and I've had the benefit of speaking at length with both these gentlemen. I call them gentlemen, by the way. You are gentlemen in my eyes. You're my heroes. And we did talk about an Olympic Village at one time, and also downtown Brentwood, which we kind of lightly skirted on. Hey, Rob, I would like you to weigh in on what has been circulating in some circles regarding the Olympics coming up and the use of our soldiers' homes, land.
Yes. Well, we know that Casey Wasserman has some interest in the Purple Line Metro. He's a graduate of Brentwood School and UCLA, both of which have illegal leases on the property. He's also on the Olympic board or the Olympic committee. The Brentwood School Caruso Watts Athletic Complex was approved for Paralympic events. The Olympics are coming in 2028, and the Metro Purple Line train, that station there, is supposed to be completed by 2027. And Wasserman wants to own the brand for the 2028 Olympics. So that's what we think.
They have a vested interest in getting them out.
Yes.
Follow the money. Always follow the money, and you can see where this is all leading. And after the Olympics, is going to turn into a downtown Brentwood. At least that's that's where everyone's leading. But gentlemen,
and this is exactly why all the programs, the housing, the security on campus, they're always trying to keep veterans off the land, make it really unpleasant to be there.
They
so
go away.
People don't want to be there. They don't want veterans to be a fixture on the land, because then they can challenge things like this. So they try to keep them off the land.
Hypocrisy is amazing that these people always talk about caring for the poor, but when it comes to a concrete problem, they never find solutions but perpetuate the problem.
Exactly. That's what they do. They continue to perpetuate it because it's an industry in itself. You're paying six-figure incomes for a lot of these homeless solutions, supposed quote unquote. Now, Ryan, we discussed HHH, and we mentioned an attorney that's been using the bond measures to profit and never delivering on the contracts. Can you mention her name? And
yeah, absolutely. This is a woman named Vivian Ming Lum, who has a law firm over at 500 South Spring Street on the 22nd floor. I just recently noticed, because there's very little information that West LA VA has ever published on this, but the truth of the matter is, one of her 45 other companies that seem to all be involved with affordable housing programs across the nation supposedly have an enhanced use lease on two buildings 205 and 208 at the West Los Angeles VA. The companies that she has for them are Building 205 Holdings LLC and Building 208 Holdings LLC. Those companies combined have received over $40 million in California HHH bonds through the HCIDLA program, and they have not broken ground on anything. Now they're really trying to look like they're breaking ground, because I have noticed that in their financial agreements with the HCIDLA and with the city of LA, in order for them to keep the bonds that they already nabbed, they had to have broken ground by September 2nd. So I think this is explaining why a fence was thrown around there real quick and the excavator moved in and nothing else happening. And that's good, because somebody like this shouldn't be doing anything there anyway. We should take that fence away and that excavator and have the VA do something with it. But anyhow, Vivian here, I noticed, has, again, about 45 other companies. They all seem to be involved in affordable housing. In fact, some of the companies that are sub-owners or partners that are all hers in these two holding companies aren't even in California. I think they're in Arkansas, many of them. And I noticed that the city of LA, the city attorney, last October, filed charges for fraud against Vivian's companies, namely some of the very companies that she has involved in this bogus deal for buildings 205 and 208, where the city is literally saying that in another project, because these folks have projects all throughout this program.
That's how they make the money. Yep.
Getting
turn and burn. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. So anyway, what I was going to say is she's being it seems she's being indicted for fraud for using this program as a personal bank account.
Got you.
Good news that in 53 days we can change all that.
Amen to that.
We can change all that. Vote James Bradley. Change it.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen, and I weighed in with the last year and a half, actually, when I ran against Dianne Feinstein. It became very clear to me that the calling was to make change in the state of California, because we've seen enough corruption. And with these gentlemen here, and then also the other research, I found quite a bit of corruption leading to those that you trusted, you voted for last election and previous election cycles. We have to put an end to the corruption, folks. Yeah, it's just one of the many things. Once you expose it, now you have to have solutions, and we have them coming. But again, the way we approach the solutions is a collaborative effort, meaning your voice, your vote, and you working together with us. We're innovators. We're bringing solutions, but we're going to shape them as we go forward. So I want to thank you all. And gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. And, you know, as you know, we're going to be speaking on a regular basis, mainly because this is not where it ends. It's where it begins. And it's out public. Let's hope the DOJ and FBI does their job. And I'll be on top of them. But, folks, solutions are on the way. We're enough of the party politics. This cuts down the center. This is a humanitarian issue. We cannot allow this to continue. Homeless as well as the veterans.
And we have a candidate here running for Congress for District 33. We're talking from Palos Verdes on up and down the beach here to Beverly Hills, Bel Air, all the way up to Angora Heights. You're included in this. You are a part of the team. Again, you know, I'm a mother. I'm a wife. We have a small business in District 33, and we need somebody that will represent us and represent we the people. And that's why I donated. And that's why I'm actually a part of the campaign, because you too can be a part of making a change for California. Yes. This man is fearless. James Bradley is fearless. He has been working tirelessly. Every single day. We're working on the weekends for you here in California. And we need your support. BradleyCongress.com, BradleyCongress.com. Please go there. Please donate. We're doing this from grassroots so that we can make a difference here. We also need your vote. Get out there and vote. We can change California, and we can take California back. We need you, and we want you. So please reach out to James Bradley directly and go to BradleyCongress.com. You're on the James Bradley Show. Tune in next week, Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. And till then, stay true to yourself.
Love you all. Be right back with you next week. Thank you very much for joining us today.